Hello everybody and welcome back to The Sit Down. In today's episode I want to talk about the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua showdown that's taking place on Friday the 19th of December in Miami. So that's this Friday and it's airing on Netflix, and it's a weird thing to say this, but it will be the biggest fight of the week, even though there are two other fight cards on. One which is OFFICALLY versus Tete, which is taking place in Nigeria, and the other Craig Richards versus Dan Aziz, taking place in Ghana. However, this will for sure be the biggest fight of the week. It is set to do crazy numbers on Netflix. It's set to, just really mobilize, I guess, everyone across the boxing casual to hardcore fan base. And it's an interesting thing because I remember when it was first announced, and I was like vehemently against it, for reasons of like safety and other things which I'll get into later in the video. And now as it draws closer, I must say that I'm looking forward to it? I think I am looking forward to it. It's just sort of a spectacle, isn't it? And I'm really interested to see what will happen. As I said, it will do crazy numbers on Netflix. It's also the fact that it's being aired on Netflix means that it's accessible and available to loads of people, which is like a huge draw, I must say. This is something that I could definitely see more of. It's got a real undercard, a strong undercard that's taking place. So the undercard includes boxers such as Alicia Baumgardner, who's facing Layla Bedouin. I'm going to butcher that name. Anderson Silva versus Tyrone Woodley. You've also got boxers such as Shanika Johnson, Sugar Neeks, and Caroline Dubois, amongst others, on the undercard. So it's pretty female heavy, which goes without saying, given the amount of work that Jake Paul has done for female boxers. But in terms of the main event itself, let's break it down. I think these are stats that you guys really need to hear. So AJ, 6'6", not a short guy. He's going to weigh in, well, his limit is 245 pounds. He is a former two-time heavyweight champion. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's got a huge resume. He's faced a lot of different people in the ring. He's got a vast amount of experience. Jake Paul, 6'1". Although when you're looking at some of these videos where they're facing off next to each other, it does actually look like the height difference is quite a lot more. However, he is 6'1". He typically fights at cruiserweight, which has a limit of 200 pounds. When he was fighting in his exhibition bout against Mike Tyson, he weighed in at 227 pounds. He's not an Olympian. He is what a lot of people call a YouTuber turned boxer. A lot of people say he's not a real boxer. A lot of people argue differently. They say that the fact that he steps in the ring, the fact that he faces off against, opposition of any kind makes him a real boxer. But I think it's worth noting that he did lose to Tommy Fury. And the reason I say that is because, no disrespect to Tommy Fury, but he definitely has a ceiling in boxing. He's not super skilled. I think that's a fair thing to say. He's he's not reached and probably will never reach great heights, and Jake Paul lost against him. It feels a bit dangerous, if I'm honest, and this is one of the reasons where initially I was against the fight, because it feels quite dangerous for someone who fights at cruiserweight against not very strong opposition to be in the ring facing off against a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. A lot of people have said things along the lines of, if AJ doesn't stop him in a round or two, this fight is rigged. A lot of people have said, you're just going to see AJ dance around for however many rounds, and that's part of the contract, but that would be illegal. So let's hope that that's not the case. I have to say that my overarching sentiments and feelings are, I do just want Jake Paul to walk away healthy. And I also want Joshua to not, I don't know. I don't know what the best way is to put this, but essentially he's talked about how after his loss to Dubois, which happened in September 2024, his career needed a reset. For him, walking away from this fight with 70 million in the bank, fair enough. But for him, he felt as though this is the reset that his career needed. And I really hope for his sake that he comes away from this fight feeling more confident and ready to take on what 2026 brings, and obviously richer as well. So, he's not been in the ring since his loss to Daniel Dubois and is now training with Team Usyk. He's, no longer under his last coaches and trainers. So he's obviously felt like he needs a change, and I hope that he gets whatever he needs from this fight and he can move on. Of course, at the end of last week, there was an announcement that finally the fans, we get to see the AJ v Fury fight that we have been long waiting for. It's now, been said that it's going to take place in 2026. And alongside that, it was stated that both boxers, both Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, are set to face other opposition as part of Riyadh season. And it's rumoured that AJ will be fighting in February, Fury in April, which then leaves, a big showdown with both boxers towards the latter part of 2026. And it does make me think about, is 2026 going to be the last year for both boxers? They're both getting on a bit. They're not young. They're no spring chickens. They've had a lot of wear and tear over the years. They both need a couple of run-outs before they face each other for this big, mega domestic clash that we've all been waiting for. And will that be the end of an era? Which it certainly will feel like an end of an era should we see the retirement of Tyson Fury and AJ. So who is to say? But before we get into all of what 2026 might bring, we've still got this fight taking place this Friday on Netflix. Guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts. If you're a big supporter of the fight, if you're really looking forward to it, if you can't wait to stay up really late and wait for this fight to happen, or if actually you're thinking, what the hell's going on? Let me know. I'm really interested to know. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode.